Chapter 10, Section 4. We're going to complete two problems from this section. Starting on page 708, we have a building with 10 floors of offices above ground and 4 below. Draw the vertical number line next to the picture. Label the ground floor 0. So this is 0. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the very top floor is 10. Going down, we're going to label this -1, -2, -3, and then the bottom floor is -4. Melanie has an office on the 9th floor. How many floors must she go up from the ground floor? What's the absolute value? So she's going from 0 to 9, so it's 9 floors. Nice spelling. The absolute value of 9 equals 9. If she parks on the 3rd floor below ground, what integer represents this floor? So here's the 3rd floor. So that's be -3. The absolute value of -3 is 3. How many floors must she go up from her car to reach the ground floor? 3 floors. How many floors must she go up from her car to her office? Write the expression that we represent this using absolute value. She parks at -3 and put the absolute value around that. Her office is on the 9th floor. The absolute value of -3 is 3. 3 plus 9 is 12. Next page, write the expression using absolute value for each situation, then calculate the answer. Patrick parks his car on the 2nd floor below ground, -2. He works on the 9th floor. How many floors must he go up to get to his office? Absolute value, you can put the absolute value around 9 also. So that would be 2 plus 9 equals 11 floors. A woman working on the 8th floor goes down to her car on the 4th floor below ground, and then back up to the ground floor to go to lunch. How many floors does the woman travel? She starts on the 8th floor. She parks on the 4th floor below ground. Then she goes back up to the ground floor, so we got to add 4 more. Add those all together. She travels 16 floors. After lunch on the ground floor, Cassie goes down to her car on the 2nd floor below ground and then back up to the ground floor. How many floors does she travel? What number is she on the number line when she's back on the ground floor? Cassie works on the 9th floor. She goes down to the 2nd floor below ground. So that's -2. And then back up to the ground floor. I'm just going to add 2 because I know that's 2. Add those floors together. We got 9 plus 2 plus 2. That equals 13 floors. What number is she on if she's on the ground floor? At 0. 0. That's what we're using for 0. Jamal is working on the 10th floor, goes down to the ground floor for lunch. He then goes back up to the 5th floor for a meeting. How many floors does he travel? Starts out at 10. He goes down to the ground floor, so that's 10 more, up and down, 10. And he goes back up 5. Just have to add those together. We get 25 floors. Jamie goes from his office on the 10th floor to a meeting on the 5th floor. How many floors does he travel and in which direction? You're going from 10 to 5. That's all you're doing. So he travels 5 floors. And he's going down. Going back to C, I made a mistake. I got Cassie and Melanie messed up. This one right here. After lunch on the ground floor, she starts at 0. She goes down to her car on the second floor below ground and then back up. How many floors does she travel? That would be 4 floors. Sorry about that. Problem 2. Back to Helen and Grace. They started a company called Top Notch. They calculated the company's profit and loss for each week. The table shown represents the first 10 weeks of operations. Losses are represented by amounts with parentheses. Number 1, rewrite the loss amounts in the table as negative numbers. So this one is negative 201.35 cents, negative 456.45, negative 156, negative $12.05, and that's it. Between which 2 weeks did Top Notch have the largest gain in money? What was this gain? If you remember your answer, it goes from negative 200 to positive 200. So we write negative 201.35. We're going to add 231.57. Put the absolute value around negative 201.35. I'm doing 2 and 3 at the same time. 201.35 plus 231.57. That's going to equal $439.92. Number 4, which 2 weeks did Top Notch have the largest loss? What was the amount of this loss? It was from 3 to 4. Week 3 to 4. And the loss was $688.02. We already did this back in an earlier section. Write the absolute value. Starts out at 231.57. We're going to add negative 456.45. Put that in absolute value. 231.57 plus 456.45. That equals $688.02. Number 6, what was the difference between the company's best week and their worst week? The company's best week was week 7, which is $281.34. Their worst week was negative $456.45. The difference between these two numbers, in other words, how far is it from 281 to negative 456? You're parking on the 281st floor. Your car is 456 floors below the ground. It's really deep. If you add those together using absolute value, you're going to get 737.79. Oops, sorry. I never make mistakes. Write the absolute value equation. We just did that. 281.34 plus 456.5 absolute value equals 737.79. It's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. Just remember it's distance from 0. We're not going to do problem 3. We'll practice with the fractions in class. Once you've got this textbook done, then you're working on 10.4 packet.